Warning. The following episode contains spoilers about the films The Collector and its sequel, The Collection, which is almost certainly the movie that you actually saw instead of The Collector. We'll get it sorted out. Welcome to Marianne's Macabre Movie Review.
Welcome to Marianne's Macabre Movie Review. Today we watched The Collection, which is The Collector and The Collection all in one day. Collectively in all one day. Today we have with us Jessica.
Hello.
Michelle Hansen.
Yes.
J. Keith Jackson. And myself, Marianne. We got a suggestion that we need to give a synopsis of both of the films before we start going in and giving our things for it, because maybe someone is listening and they haven't seen the movie.
Oh, okay.
So
It's Silence of the Lambs meets Saw.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, for both films, kind of. Yeah.
So the first one, main character Arkin, he's working on this house, an affluent family. They go on vacation. He's going to rob them because his wife owes money to some loan sharks.
Yeah.
While he's robbing them, he realizes there's a psychopath in the house who is torturing the family, and he tries desperately to save all of them because despite being a thief, he has a fucking heart of gold. And, spoiler, at the end, he gets captured by the guy, because that's his thing. He takes
one person,
because he's a collector of human beings, apparently. So in the second one, Arkin gets out because he gets left at a new crime scene, and another girl gets taken, and he escapes, but since he's been held by the collector for X amount of days, weeks, we don't know.
Who knows?
This dude who's hired to save that girl is like, guess what, bitch? You're going back in. And Arkin's like, phenomenal. I'm not traumatized at all by this event that's occurring. So they go back into the torture house to save the girl. But
Very
it's the
good.
collector's torture house.
Yeah, it's the collector's torture
home.
house. It's not even,
That
was a great synopsis.
Yes.
That was
perfect. Concise. Very well. So first thing we're going to do is we'll go around, give our general thoughts of both movies. And then after that, we'll get in depth. So Keith, would you like to start?
If I must.
You must.
I enjoyed them both very much.
Very good.
Actually, this is one of the few movies I've actually found scary. I mean, even just like the second time through, which I just watched. Well, I mean, we watched Marianne and I watched The Collector a few weeks ago. And I think just like everyone else, Marianne certainly thought that she had seen it before, but probably seen The Collection just as Michelle had. And I don't think that I'd seen The Collector either. Seemed familiar, but anyway. Even knowing what had happened a few weeks ago, I was still tense today, just watching some of the things. They were very good at a job of presenting the imagery of what could happen. Just having a foot hovering over spikes, for example. Things, just little things. And so, yeah.
Okay. Watching it by myself, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much as watching it with a group. I don't particularly care for torture horror. And I think a lot of that came into play. There were a few points where when I watch a movie, sometimes I'll turn to my wife or whoever I'm watching it with when the plot has completely lost me. And I'm like, I'm just checking out at this point because there was no way that this could ever happen. And so I think I turned to you guys a few times, but you didn't know why I was turning to you. So I checked out quite a few times during the movie.
You're like, and this is enough.
Yeah, there were certain points where I was like, no, this would never happen. And it takes you away out of the movie, I think. But I wouldn't have finished it if I wasn't with a group of people.
Yeah, I could see that with the second one, definitely. More so than the first one.
Yeah.
I've seen the first one. I've seen The Collector before several times. And I really like it. I usually don't catch the opening scene, which is why the opening, I was like, what is this house? That's not the house that they're in. What? And then I'm like, oh yeah, he takes people. This is a prelude to show you that he takes people and puts them in boxes. But I really like The Collector. It is torture porn, but it's like Saw 1 torture porn, not Saw 6 torture porn.
Yeah, very true.
There's a distinction.
Or when torture porn comes up, I usually think Hostel, for example. So
Oh yeah, this is definitely.
that is where that's.
Yeah.
I think
Hostel is like
10.
porn
Yeah.
for the first half an hour, and then torture for the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like The Collector. I've seen it several times, and it is enough to make me be like, oh god, I want him I want the main character, Arkin, I want him to be safe and happy. I want him out of this place, because he tries so hard to save everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, it's a little more unbelievable that this abandoned place could just be, like, none of the hobos ever reported that people were screaming and stuff inside.
Yeah.
Like, the police have never been called on this abandoned place.
Soundproof.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I enjoyed both of them. I do like torture porn to a point. So this was kind of my jam. Keith and I were watching a movie called Cold Moon a few weeks ago, and I was like, that guy looks really familiar, and it was Arkin.
Yeah.
He was the bad guy in Cold Moon.
Makes sense.
And so I was like, huh. And I went and looked at him up on IMDb, and I was like, oh, he was in The Collector and The Collection. I've seen The Collector. I didn't know they had a sequel to it. So I was like, okay, so let's get those, Keith, and then we can watch them. I was like, I've seen The Collector. I hadn't seen The Collector. I had seen The Collection is what I had seen. So, And I remember walking out of The Collection saying to my boyfriend at the time, like, this really seemed like it was a sequel to something. Or like they're going somewhere with this.
And, like, it seemed to me the reason that The Collection upped the stakes so hard is because Arkin is really smart.
Yeah.
Like, he proves in the first one that he
Can he
knows what he's doing, and he can get through your traps and cover up his tracks so you don't even know he's there for the first hour and a half for some
It's
reason.
criminal versus criminal.
Yeah. But in the second one,
if
they'd have just dropped him in a house, he'd have got the fuck out of the house. And it wouldn't have mattered. He'd be like, bye. Like, as we see, he escapes he gets the hell out. He doesn't try to save anybody anymore. Like, maybe a little. And he's like, but I'm not putting any extra effort in because I learned my lesson.
I was joking when I came down, because I didn't watch The Collector the first time, or the second time, the second viewing. Today, yes. So, when I came down in the middle of it, middle to end, he finds the girl finally, and his first response is, "Where have you been?"
Yeah, he's been looking for
her the whole time.
I think for the first one, it would have been funny if we had like a split screen of what the wife was going through while she was waiting for the stone or the money, whatever that he was trying to
Oh yeah.
Like, well, I'm about to be murdered by a loan shark.
They put a puzzle together while this is happening, crossword. So let's start out with The Collector, since that was the first one. We'll talk about what we liked, what we didn't like. Let's start with what we liked about it. Jessica?
I loved the main character. And, like, he's not this wilting flower female, which, yes, I'm a woman, but it gets a little boring when it's like this white girl survives every movie. You're like, come on, guys. And he's a thief, that's new. And the fact that you expect him to just be like, bye, y'all, or to get killed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But instead, he actively tries to help everyone in that house. Even the guy whose feet are, like, screwed into the box. Yeah. He tries to get that guy out. He's like, at least I can get this guy out.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
There's something I wanted to say about Arkin. About the character, the thief character. I remember the first time we were watching it, I got that, you see him when he first comes on screen and goes, he looks kind of like a dirtbag. Yeah. Then you see him acting sweet, and I'm like, okay, maybe I was being hasty, I feel kind of bad about that, but no, he actually is a thief. And it kept kind of flip-flopping on me as far as, like, what he was supposed to be, and then we see, of course, when it comes down to it, he reluctantly does go out of his way to try to help the family. Once he, interrupting the torture and so forth.
Yeah. And he does get caught in some of the traps, which, when the guy spent half the night setting up traps in the house. You're probably going to hit at least one of them. But he's like, oh, I have to be quiet. Oh, I have to cover up what I'm doing, like what he does with the acid floor. He's like, I can't let him see my shoes because then he'll know I'm here. Or he lets the dude out of the box to be like, hey, tell me what you know. And then he's like, sorry, I gotta put you back in the box. Like, he can't know that I let you out. Whoop! Like, he actively covers his tracks.
So there were a couple of things that confused me about him going in there to begin with. One, it seemed like there wasn't anything visible when he came in. It should have been a lot more obvious. I mean, it seemed like the collector was still setting things up around him once he was already in the house. Also, he came in with the mask on.
And took it off immediately.
Well, yeah, but it's like he was sneaking around as though he expected somebody to be there, perhaps, or potentially, even though he should have expected everyone to be gone.
Who? The
Arkin?
Arkin came in, and he was tiptoeing up to the safe, being very quiet. He's still just being very stealthy on his approach and trying to, pick the safe and everything. Crack the safe, I should say. And this is before he knew anybody was there. So it was lucky that he happened to be.
He didn't come in, flip the lights on.
Right.
No one's here anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess if you're a thief...
Old habits, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, and then there was always the potential with the oldest daughter that she could go. That's what I assumed. Is he's like, she might be here.
Yeah, he wasn't sure. Well, I wonder if Arkin would have been to save the family if he didn't know them already, because he already had that prior relationship with them, and they seemed like good people. They gave him extra money for fixing up the house, whatever he was doing. So I wonder if he would go to that extent to save the people had he not known them already.
He seemed like he would have felt some sort of obligation regardless, unless they had been like actively shitty to him or something. I think maybe he might have been like,
he was like the little girl, and he probably liked it back to his little girl. Like, I got a little girl of my own.
True.
Well, I mean, I know we're still in the collector, but we find in the collection he will go and help someone.
Yeah.
It's like, don't you hear that? You can't just,
You can't just leave them.
They're obviously in pain. So I was checking out the trivia for the collector. I thought I'd read this already, but apparently I hadn't. The writers intended this movie to be a Saw prequel, but the idea was declined. Interesting. So obviously we see...
I like the chest, I think.
Well, we all thought that
there was a lot of Saw-like
things in there.
Yeah.
So I was going to say about that, I did note something about the Saw resemblance. I think one of the crucial differences for this, at least for me, was that in Saw you have a very clear sort of, at least in the sequels, there's a clear sort of, we're dealing with a trap right now, okay, now we're fine, here's a message, this is what we're going to have to do it. And this, it was just a constant kind of, oh God, is there a tripwire right there?
Yeah.
Just things could happen at any second.
Saw was like a journey with things that they had to figure out with like puzzles, and then this was just constant chaos. And every time you turned a corner,
you just wanted to see what you do.
Yeah.
And
It's like
a bug.
The Home Alone kid grew up and went insane and was like, I'm going to break into houses and kidnap people and put all these wacky traps around.
How long would that take him to set up?
That's what I was thinking.
Traps. Like,
did he start as soon as the family left? Well, they didn't leave, so he had them already trapped already, and then he set up.
Was he expecting someone to come in? Like, if he already had the family, why would he need all those traps?
Maybe for the daughter. Maybe he was expecting them to get out somehow. That's a very good question, though.
The dad, he gets out and is running around.
True.
So I feel like he might just let them roam.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or I've tied you, but I've tied you loosely, so you can just kind of run around. Run into my traps.
But I noted that could have it was sort of like one of his superpowers, if he were a gadget supervillain.
Yeah.
Superpowers avoiding his own traps as he's running after them.
Well, you see, he sets them up even as he has them in the basement. He sets up more traps.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it just seemed like, which one will they run into?
Yeah. It's like he goes to if that was where he sleeps and stuff. And I'm going to the second one. Sorry. Like, if he wakes up in the middle of the night, he has to go to the bathroom. Does he have to avoid all of his traps? He has to, wake himself up before he goes? You're like, all right, where are my traps?
I just think about him setting them up. Like, you know, when you line up dominoes in a row, and you want to get like 1,000 of them, but like domino 603 accidentally falls, and it just like, oh no, I have to start over again.
Yeah.
And like I could just like picture him accidentally taking off the trap as he's like, dang it, and have to go back up the chimney again. And
have to reset all these bear traps now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this bear trap.
So, what was the other thing? We're moving to the collector again. That scene in the club. Wouldn't at least half the people ducked by the time they saw half the room get maimed? I feel like I would have
The music was too good.
I think I would have had a better reaction time, especially for the brother who turned around and was like,
You'd think you'd
And then
also
just, like,
notice spikes
Yeah.
hanging from the ceiling.
yeah.
It's
Like,
like
this is not a
ambiance.
club for me. This is not a club for me.
Sure
No.
it is. You would think that. You came in and said, oh,
club
yeah.
with the secret password.
Yeah.
You have to know there's going to be spikes on the
Yeah.
ceiling.
But like, I mean, I've left clubs just because they're in the basement and there's only one door. I'm like, no, that's not a club I want to be in.
Have
Yeah.
you really? Have you really just been
No.
red flag and just...
Oh yeah, I've been like, this is a fire hazard, and I'm like, I will not go down in this club. And they're like, okay, weirdo. I'm like, there's not even an emergency exit. I'm not fucking going down there.
I've never been to a club where it's that like happening.
Yeah.
You know, like as soon as they walked in, they were like,
Meat
LSD,
coat off.
let's
Woo!
go.
Yeah.
It was a party.
Was
I
it
haven't
like,
in America. I have overseas.
it was blade level.
Oh, it was blade level. Yeah,
Oh,
blood right
yeah.
into the ceiling. Yay!
Drugs everywhere.
That's, so yeah, you said not in America, but that also is a red flag. You know, that means you're going to get taken to the hospital right then, in a
Yeah.
place like that. So
And was there a cover charge for that club? That
It is.
it was the password.
It was and you would think that there would be a
Be like,
pretty
yeah,
hefty cover charge.
Yeah. Or maybe
Maybe there's like a membership, so like a subscription fee they pay to
Like
get
in
the password.
hospital. Yeah.
Go,
Show 'em the
Mad
tattoo.
Lab membership.
Yeah.
You get for $35, a cool T-shirt and this club.
The password is
Yeah, oh my gosh. How intense.
yeah.
How literary.
Marianne, you had to bring up the volume on that. She was whispering, "Nevermore." Just like,
Okay, Keith. So, what else did we like?
I like the main character
Yeah.
as well because he had his rough side. He was the criminal with the heart of gold, and like Jessica said, it wasn't another final girl.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have no problem with final girls. And then I liked the camera angles.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the way that it was shot.
I was going to ask you that because I mean I've noticed that usually directors, when I see them talk about things, or filmmakers, they seem to be a lot more critical of these things than I am, and I really appreciated the way that they were showing it was like they were doing a lot of visual storytelling with, here's how this trap is connected. Let's run along the wire. This goes to here, and you just kind of follow along trying to figure out the
very Criminal Minds, how they do that, instead of going in someone's veins or wherever.
I was wondering if that's like, oh, I hate that, or just you actually liked it.
That I wasn't so much into. I liked the camera angles where the one that really struck me was when it was pointing down on Bird's Eye. And it had the collector on one side of the door, and then Arkin on the other side.
Yeah,
I
that's
really
a cool
liked that.
shot.
That was a good one.
Yeah, and one thing constantly, and I know this is just like, why waste time having him wait on screen, but it's like the second the collector walks out the door, Arkin's like, whoop, here I go.
Yeah, and
Should
they're
we
like,
give it a second?
and they're like a foot and a half away from each other.
I also like whatever effect they did on the collector's eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I was like, is he Riddick? Because
Right? It looks like
Chronicles
Riddick.
of Riddick.
But it looked like a spider eye or something. Because they kept focusing on the spider's eyes, and I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing here. I get the comparison.
Wait, oh my god, so spiders collect bugs too.
to eat them.
In their rats.
Good job, Keith. Putting two and two together.
That's for the audience.
Okay.
Yeah, and his mask was alright.
Yeah, I like the
Yeah.
mask.
I
That
wonder
was.
what it was made out of.
I
Very
know.
weird.
'Cause it seems like bulletproof material.
Yeah, it was
I felt like it looked like felted wool. Like someone took the like took black wool and just went over
Okay.
through it, and like got it
But
wet,
I'm
and then
pretty sure he got shot in the second one, and it just kind of went like
oh, I
Off his
missed
face?
that.
It was
Shade
like a paper mache leather,
Yeah,
material.
yeah. But he always would put it on. Like, okay, ladies, got my face on.
So I noted that maybe that the ski mask that Arkin was wearing when he went into the house was supposed to be some sort of parallel to the Collector in a way.
Could be,
Like,
because he's
you know.
not hidden. He's showing his true.
Well, I mean, so donning his criminal element mask so you would see the similarity between the two characters at some point, and they're almost a match for each other as well.
Yeah, they were both there for evil doing.
Yes.
Yeah, but then one turned into the good guy.
Yeah. He's also got bit by that dog
What?
at the beginning. When he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, what's this
Yeah, he got
spike in the middle of the yard? Oh, God, it's a dog! And the dog, like, bit half his mask.
oh yeah.
It's like,
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Wonder what the hell.
One of the ones the traps that I liked in the first one was the telephone with the little needle.
oh my
Ching!
gosh.
And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just was cringing a lot still, again. Just, wasn't even just the actual torture itself, I thought was actually pretty light on that. I mean, they had, the
a lot
husband and
of
wife in the chair.
the death came from him killing them. Most of the... there was bear traps, but that's like, I fell in the box. Most of the traps were like, you can live through them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I mean is just, it was the part that was, I was just tense the whole time because of just the little close-ups on the needles and teeth and spikes and people getting...
Fish hooks.
Yeah, caught in them. Yeah.
The fish hooks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dang, I was like, way to just put me in place and I wouldn't move. And like, well, this is the end. He only had like 3 in him, and you can stand there and fall. I mean, I've had to take fish hooks out of my hands before, but like, this is how I die.
In my eye! In my eye! But getting a little bit into the negative, I think the frustrating part I found was every time he told someone to listen to him, follow me, don't get in front of me. Every time they ran ahead, did something else, and got killed. I'm like,
I know you're like, I know you're panicked, and I know you're like, why the fuck is this guy in my house?
but can we listen to me from like the little girl's the only one that stayed calm for a second. Oh my god.
Well, she had that age to where she
Yeah.
listens to authority and adults.
True.
And I love how he doesn't even hesitate. He's like, you're going to sit on this bookshelf. Do not touch the floor. When I tell you to, fling this TV on. Like, we're going to fuck someone up.
Yeah.
She's like, all right.
So one of the goofs I saw in it was they electrocuted the other guy by accident. They show one of the fish dead next to it. The next scene they show from underneath, and one of the fish is like
swimming. Yeah.
like, I'm in an underground cave. Wow. It's like, okay,
How much water was in that fish tank?
right?
That room was probably
Oh,
13
right.
by 13 feet, and
Yeah, that would have been
That
like
was
a puddle on the floor,
only
not
like a 20-gallon fish
yeah.
tank.
And it was like this much water.
Yeah.
Marianne's holding her fingers apart about it.
3 inches of water.
Okay.
I'm guessing. So what else? What did we dislike from it?
Well, I made a note of one of Jessica's comments. I hope she'll repeat. Made an observation about the basement.
Oh, yeah. They
So
spent all
funny.
that dear money remodeling their house, and they got this unfinished basement. That legit bothered the shit. I mean, like, it's a creepy basement even without the torture chamber.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why?
What's happening? Was there an abandoned basement in here?
Well,
You
maybe
spent
he
money
was,
putting bars on the windows. You didn't spend money fixing your basement.
Well, he was the exterminator. Maybe he was also a contractor of some sort. They gave the job to him. He's like, I'm on it.
He's the beekeeper, or not the beekeeper, the
Exterminator.
exterminator. Yeah.
I'm just saying. Maybe.
With a magnetic strip or magnetic logo for his
Yes.
van that he whips off.
At the
He's
end.
like, "Find me now, suckers!"
I was. I noticed. I said I would have been ecstatic if that scene had been the end where the van door closes. They just had a stamp collected.
Oh,
This door
geez.
closed. Credits. you're not as amused by that.
No, I'm not. that is a definite Keith ending for something. The pun, end. Yay, Keith is happy. Not Marianne.
I would have preferred if there was a more story, like explaining the character and why he was after that family.
You know,
like
it
what
did,
was,
yeah.
I have a feeling that thing at the end was a slight nod to maybe his backstory. It said on the guy had been a taxidermist and had inhaled and consumed too much of the taxidermy stuff, chemicals.
So he went insane.
And he went insane, killed his whole family.
Except for the boy.
And they all ate, he made them eat dinner together, Thanksgiving dinner together.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that boy was the collector.
Okay.
Because we did see taxidermy in the second movie,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it, and
That
putting
was-
everything together.
That was at the end of the collection, not the
Yes.
collector.
Yeah. Yes, sorry. We should have just put them all together, because...
We'll get to that at some point. What else was there? There was... I noticed that you didn't seem to like the way that the daughter died. What was her name?
Oh,
Jill?
it was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
How did she get catapulted that far into the... Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't you not? Because it seemed like she was holding on to the scissors, and that's what drug her up.
perhaps.
But you'd be like, whoop,
Yeah.
what's that?
Yeah, I feel like it would just like your fingers would just give up and like, let go.
Like, women are notoriously not known for having a lot of upper body strength, so I think that would be something that'd be like, I'll just let go, or it wouldn't have, even if she did have the strength.
Well, yeah, and if you started to pull on something, and it had more resistance than you were expecting,
Yeah.
you'd be like, oh, that's weird.
Well, I mean, so the scissors were attached to that cable, and if it had the strength to fling her like that, it would have just pulled right out of her hand. She couldn't
Yeah,
have
she probably
held
broke her
on.
fingers
Yeah.
with it going like, pfft.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Yeah, because that like launched her like 20 feet above the ground.
Yeah. And the impact was so hard, she stuck there the entire night.
Yeah.
Well, they're nails.
That doesn't mean anything, Keith.
They were like spikes.
They were like railroad spikes. That's
Well, yeah, but they were only like this,
I know.
like 2
yeah.
inches.
Yeah, even
so,
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't like the dad, because when the dad got flung, he had a thing around his
Yeah.
ankle
Mm-hmm.
that drug him.
That's true. Yeah, I remember that.
So yeah, that was a more believable fling across
Yeah.
across the house.
Yeah.
There were just several things along the way that were... Well, they certainly were showing you how persistent and good a guy that Arkin was when it came down to it. Because there were just several points where it seemed like he would have been justified in saying, well, I tried.
Oh, dude.
You should have listened to me. He even said it, if you had listened to me, this wouldn't have happened. Done.
Yeah, I'd have been like, fuck y'all. I'm leaving. I liked how the daughter, though, while she's getting choked, is dialing 911.
Yeah.
Gets through.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, well, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna call 911.
Yeah.
I was like, bravo, Jill.
Good job.
Good on you, Jill.
Mm-hmm.
Those cops were useless, but...
Yeah, they were absolutely useless.
I feel like they were just added for a higher body count.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They were so worthless, yeah.
Excuse me. So, you had a picture of something for the end of this movie.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. So in the credits, at the end... Hold on, I gotta find my gallery. So at the end, they're doing all the thank yous. The last thank you is, and that guy who kept taping his face. Immediately after is special no thanks to the guy who tried to blow up Joe's bar and whoever stole Karlak's watch.
And Karlak is a special effects designer.
Yes.
Who was also in the collection
As
as the deceased cat
lover.
Yes.
Which is puzzling in a few ways. I guess I wasn't paying close enough attention to the bodies.
Yeah,
There's
I
some
didn't
little
see
thing that
anybody
was
with
maybe somebody in a jar. Who knows?
Oh, could
But
have
the
been.
first thing I noted in collection was Karlak is bringing the heat. If you were ready to move to the next one.
Yep, let's go to the next one. Go ahead. What did we brief? Brief. Did we do a brief synopsis? Yeah.
She
Okay.
kind of summed up.
How about the brief, like, few seconds of what you liked, what you didn't like, and then we'll go around and we'll get further into it.
I mean, for the most part, I liked the second one too. They were just like, how do we up the stakes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know. We'll go to his house.
Which is a museum
Mm-hmm.
in
and / torture chamber.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like they might have seen Hostel in between now and then, and we're like, yeah, I got some ideas.
Yeah.
Some things make sense here. But it also makes sense for him to have more elaborate traps because
It's his house.
it's his house.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of drugged up people.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't really care about too many of them.
No.
He did seem to care about Emily, the baby doll one.
Baby doll, yeah.
Yeah, he seemed to be pretty upset that she died. But other than that, like the one that he had crucified on the wall as like a display,
Mm-hmm. He didn't care.
he had like so many things keeping her alive, and then he just walks up and was like, slice her throat, dead. Like after she's like, shh, and like finger on the lips,
Dead.
like, and dead.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why did you do that? Why did you even shush her if you're gonna kill her anyway? Just kill her.
Yeah, maybe that was like her punishment because he didn't like when people screamed or anything.
That's
'cause
true.
In the first one, he didn't like when the mom was screaming.
Oh
and
yeah.
he was kind of like, instead of telling her, I might cut your tongue off, he just kind of like pretended that he was about to,
So
and then didn't, and was
Mhm.
like, that's what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Keith?
Well, I mean, maybe it was some of the comments I've already heard, but when I think about it, the elements that I liked in the first one didn't seem to carry over as well in this one. Maybe because it was too big. His warehouse, the traps didn't feel as intimate, I guess, if, for lack of a better word. I didn't get the feeling of it being so, getting to see the tripwires connected to something that's going to do this other thing when people are trying to escape. It's just more, here's just...
I think in the second one, there were too many people they were forcing us to care about.
Right.
So we didn't care about any of them.
Yeah.
Where in the first one, it was just the family.
Yeah.
And any family that has like a little girl or whatever, and even the mom with her Botox and everything.
Yeah, I was like, they're trying really hard to make these people unlikable except for the girl.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I'm going to scream, I'm going to Botox my face, I'm going to yell at people.
Yeah, but even them, even the family, in the end, the mom was going to do whatever she can to save her kid.
Yeah.
She's like, even screaming and bringing him back
That's
down
true,
to
yeah.
her, she'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that I had the thought too. I was like, I don't care about any of these fucking people except Arkin. Like, if he dies in this movie, I'm gonna be so mad.
I liked the girl.
that they were going in there to rescue.
Yeah, I like the girl that they're going in to rescue. Her name was Elena. And I also liked Arkin. And I did like the other female Paz. I thought she was awesome.
Yeah, she was actually
the
useful.
warrior
The
lady.
warrior lady,
And
yeah.
even the man who gave the line that let me know I was going to love the movie. I've assembled a team.
Yeah.
The team leader.
Limoncello?
Yeah, Lucello. I was like, I didn't like him as much. There were a few times where I was just like,
Yeah.
he gave him a pen light, and then he didn't even get to kill anybody with the pen light. I really wanted that pen light to be like Chekhov's pen light,
Yeah.
Yeah. That was on the eye
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Deleted scene, maybe.
Something about the collector himself. I still just always loved his mannerisms and his movements, sort of like a matador. Just this weird kind of serpentine kind of arrogance about the way he does
how
things.
he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a psychopath. He just,
Like, well, time to let some spiders out.
yeah,
Like,
the
not
only
even giving a
thing-
shit.
Yeah, the only thing that seemed to rile him was in the first one
The
when,
F word, yeah.
when Arkin taunted him.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I
I'm
was
just
actually
wondering
going to
about
bring that up.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't remember that from the... Arkin didn't remember that from the previous film and use that again.
He did in a way just use...
Pussy.
Yeah,
Yeah, he used
that's it.
pussy, but he didn't use the other word.
It was implied.
I wonder if in between the first one and the second one, that's when the whole, like, no anti-gay slurs are going to be used in movies. So I wonder if that happened.
I'm sure there was something like that where there was probably some sort of backlash where the fans didn't like the character as much because he used that word. So they were like, we can't do that then.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he used it to distract him from going after the little girl.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't lie and say I wouldn't use it either if that's what
If
made
I
him turn
was-
around
Yeah.
and not go after the little
Yeah.
girl.
That's what I'm like...
But yeah, when he started yelling that, I was like, ooh.
I was like, I cringed. I was like, oh, I don't like that. It's not good.
So I think one of the other things that came up during the collection, which took me out of it a bit, was you mentioned like the smell. That occurred to me too. Like when they were first looking around. No, not in the sense that they should have smelled where the bodies were, because it should have been everywhere. I mean,
Yes.
people probably shouldn't have even been able to like move or breathe or anything, because it should have just been unbearable.
Yeah.
With the level of carnage in there, but I don't know.
Yeah. And especially, so at the beginning they open with like those newsreels and they say something like 50 or 60 people are still missing.
Yeah.
So that's like, we saw there were probably 20 people alive in there, so there's at least 40 dead bodies in there
Yeah.
piled up. That's a
piled
stench.
up. Yeah.
So, is it possible, because they did say they were below ground at some point,
Yeah.
is it possible that the bodies were underground, and then he did have kerosene on a lot of them, and
Does it
is
do
it
anything?
possible, did it vent it? No, it makes it flammable. But
Maybe I don't know. Maybe
No, I
that's
was
like for
think- if
like
it's
a
under-
perfume.
if it's underground, and then, it's a basement, and then he maybe has a vent, because he is obviously
I mean,
smart
if he kept
somehow.
it like cold enough,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe.
But
But he
that's
did
a
have all
lot
those
of-
bug lights up there for the flies that were obviously around.
Yeah.
So
those made
they're-
a lot more sense when they walked to the end of the hall.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
It's a giant mound of
Okay.
things. Because the guy said, I don't have a cell phone signal. There's no signal here because we're below 10 so many things
10
of
feet
concrete.
below ground. Yeah.
Which is, well, although this was like 2012. I don't remember. Now that's kind of bullshit. I get cell service almost everywhere.
Yeah.
But
One of the other things that struck me as being a little, well, at least it distracted me, was the thought of how he was caring for them. How is he feeding them? How is he removing their waste and so forth? It seemed like they were just
with the
wasn't
crazy
hooked
people,
up
it
and-
seemed like he wasn't.
Yeah.
for them. But
Yeah.
there's
Drugs.
still just, even if you have like one or two favorites, it didn't seem like they were being well accommodated. They're always in a trunk or something. Or,
Yeah. Did the baby doll get like shower time?
Right.
Because she was clean. You know, she
Yeah.
had good hygiene.
Speaking of her, I looked up the actress's name once we saw who it was, because I couldn't place why I knew her, and it was because of of course I've already forgotten the name of the movie.
Colony?
The
Alphas?
Colony, yes,
Okay.
yeah. That series where she just played that really creepy nanny teacher. Did you watch that series?
Yeah, I tried. I saw like the first 5 episodes of it.
So yeah, she was their nanny tutor from The Occupation. Just really creepy.
She's also on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Handmaid's Tale. Bones. 1 episode of these things.
But yeah, perfect for this in that sense of just, something is off. You just
Yeah, that's like Stockholm syndrome to a T.
Yeah, like, he's gonna get you if you're not strong enough.
Then she get out. Yeah, it seemed almost like she's like, I'm gonna go with this chick. Oh no, she's defective.
Yeah.
She's not gonna get me out.
Yeah.
Back to pretending that
I like this guy.
Yeah, and then at the end she commits hardcore. She's like, I'm gonna help him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, it's really seemed like. Well, yeah, I guess it had to be Stockholm, because it didn't seem like she was really committed to getting out, because she probably could have. I mean, that seemed like they had a pretty good shot of making it out. And
Yeah.
once she realized that, that's when.
Yeah, and then she's like, wait, I don't really want that.
Yeah. I mean, the years of therapy that she would need to get over.
Yeah, no shit.
Just might as
Oh
well
my
stay
God.
there.
So, the guy that had the bomb strapped to the back of his neck that walked up, what did he say? I'm not...
I'm not the winner or something.
I'm not going to be collected or something like that.
I was wondering.
Yeah, there was like some defect. defect on him. Yeah.
He had the
Oh,
Y.
the one with the he actually used the titular line. I noticed. Yeah, she said the collection.
It seemed to imply that if you were good enough, you would live.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because he had the wine, like he had a heart transplant or something, is what I was thinking with that guy.
Well, I thought his throat was cut at first, but
He
it
had
was just that collar
bomb
thing.
around his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did have the Y autopsy
That's what I thought.
thing going on him. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was all about.
And
Some
his head
defect.
exploded.
Yeah, and his head exploded.
But even still, even with these like highly trained people, Arkin is still the first one
Better.
to be like, guys, this is a trap. You need to get out.
Yeah. Constantly. It was that perpetual disbelief that they have all the time.
Yeah, it gets irritating.
It gets really frustrating where it was like, give the guy a weapon. No. Give him a pen light. Everything will be fine.
We can't trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
At
then
his heels.
half the guys are dead now. But no. Obviously, we need to beat this guy up.
Yeah. When the one dude, Wally,
Yeah.
Yeah.
S, came in and he's like, I told you should have cut his heels. I was like, excuse you, Wally, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
How would that have helped
Yeah.
anything?
Now
Let's make him
you
less mobile.
Yeah.
And now we just all want you to die.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he did
And he
immediately.
did
after.
die. Yeah.
20 seconds later.
There you go. That's fine.
Good. Yeah.
Fine with that.
Alright. And no one ever noticed the collector sneaking up on them. Except Arkin.
Arkin, yeah.
He's like,
Yeah, guys.
Hey.
Again, the perpetual disbelief. He tells them something, they don't believe him.
Yeah, I'm like, why did you kidnap me and bring me here?
Yeah. And then the way that he sent Paz to the other area was kind of like, what? Did you know this was going to happen? Were you aiming for her? Grabbed her, and just shoved her around the thing, turned the thing, her body turned the corner, and she went into the other room.
Yeah.
I'm like, what kind of dispatch thing do you have here? Is this like, it was a hotel room, not a meat packing
I
thing.
know.
He seems like he's pretty handy. He might have,
Put in all these tracks in the, I don't know. Yeah,
he seems pretty thorough.
he does.
Yeah.
I would hate to see his credit card statement from Home Depot and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're like, why do you know these meat hooks?
Probably has his own forge at this point. Probably.
Yeah,
Just,
maybe.
Well, yeah, and since he's a registered entomologist,
Yeah.
that cracks me up. I mean, I've had classes from the entomologists at like OSU, and they've told us, they're like, the majority of the calls we get about stuff is like, I have maggots in my wound, what do I do? They're like, we get that call once a day.
Once a day.
They're like, yeah, he was like, we get that call so often. And the answer is you just leave them there because they'll fall out when they die. But he's like, they're not hurting you. But
It
Don't they
isn't.
eat the
It isn't
dead
remove
skin
it.
anyway?
no, they just eat your dead skin and then they fall off.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's what they used in World War II to clean out wounds. They put maggots on you.
That is not the answer that I would want to hear if I made that call. I
Yeah,
think
but
it would
he's
be-
like, that's like a lot of what we get calls about. And then they do experiments on bugs a lot. So it's just like,
do they build bugs out of people? Anything like that?
unfortunately, no.
That you know of.
Yeah, I
True.
They might not have told you.
But yeah, it's
You
like,
take him the password
what
first.
is your day
Never
like? This is my question. As a registered entomologist. Huh.
Apparently, not building bug people, and
Yeah, and you made a mistake because Arkin full on knows what you look like.
Yeah.
He's the only person that
Yeah.
knows what you look like.
yeah, that's a key thing. It's like, maybe I should blind him. Maybe I should do something so he anything so he doesn't come out.
Maybe I should just kill him instead of playing with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's the Joker to my Batman.
Yeah.
Arkin seems like he would be pretty entertaining to have.
Right?
I mean, if you were a collector of such things, it
He'd
would
be the one that you'd like test your traps on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he'd get out of them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this
If
is what I need
Arkin
to
can't
do.
solve it, no one can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, and then you went back to your day job, knowing that Arkham's out there
Yeah.
and
Oh my
gonna
God,
fuck
just-
you up.
I don't know why this didn't occur to me until the Arkin Man, like extermination.
That's what I thought. I thought
And
that
the,
name was like
that's the-
Orkin at first.
Orkin, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Orkin.
That's where that's why it didn't occur to me because that's not a real thing.
Do
But
you have
maybe
anything?
I do. Well, a couple things, I think. One of the things that bothered me, and also one of your lines, the thing you said that I loved.
What?
Is it the bras?
It was when Lucello.
Yeah.
When he was saying, "Okay, guys, just go on
Just
without
go,
me,"
just
and then
go.
just like seconds later,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There's a dog. He's like, hey guys.
your line.
Oh. Now hear me out. We got 3 dead dogs in here. we just, we can put a team together and get me out of this trap. I mean, it's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, why wait until people have left the room to start struggling? He's like, before you leave, can you bring that dog over to me?
Yeah. Has anyone played Twister? Because this is what we're going to do.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
just going to scoot this way.
Yeah. Have you seen Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Any one of these?
Yeah.
Move the idol.
So the last couple things I can think of that
was-
were distracting to me at some point. Toward the end, it's the unrealistic thing they have to do in many horror movies and action movies. And Arkin had taken too much damage, even before he went into the place, to be able to just stroll around the way that he was. And especially after he re-broke his arm and had it set again. Just that was a great scene, by the way.
It must be so
Yeah.
easy to set broken bones in the hospital.
Just like that.
That
Yeah.
too. And then just being able to grab the collector with both hands at one point and shove him down the chute.
Yeah.
And then he returned to going, this does kind of sting
Smarts
a bit.
a bit,
Yeah, it smarts.
Well, another thing, so like his arms broke because he used a dead body as a cushion and jumped out of like a 3-story window, which, shit, if your option is going back in that box,
That's what you do.
Yeah.
you soften the blow with a dead body. But he broke his arm, limped away. I was like, you poor barefoot baby. And I'm like, this is like a day later that they're like,
Right.
we're taking you back into this place that you just escaped from.
Those must be some great shoes, I guess.
So I'm just like, his arm hadn't healed that much that it needed to rebrain.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, that too.
it's just like, slap it a little, it'll move out of place.
She like did a full on kick.
I appreciated the girl because
Yeah.
she was proactive,
Yeah.
much like Arkin, in
Yeah.
trying to get out of her situation.
Yeah, every time I thought she so smart. The bra thing was like smart. I would never be able to get that to happen because apparently my hands are too weak. Maybe because she was partially deaf, she had extra strength.
Or maybe she never had
That's
to do it.
exactly what happens when,
When
one
you lose
sense-
one ear,
it get all like hand straight.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
daredevil
that's
deaf.
science. Yeah.
She's daredevil.
She got deafened by chemicals.
Yeah.
But I think that if you really needed to break something, a bra, for that reason, maybe it would be a little easier to do it.
Desperation.
And then she
Yeah.
left it there.
I know,
It's like that's
tool.
super handy. Keep it with you. And I thought,
Best bra ever.
yeah, I thought she was going to pull out the underwire and then do it that way.
Yeah.
But that little hooky thing, I don't think that would work.
You could be in that box for 10 years and still not be able to
Yeah.
get it with
And
your
she
little
was
bra
like-
strap.
First try,
Mhm.
king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she actively was trying to get out,
Mhm.
and I was like,
And was
"Alright,
smart
alright."
about it too.
And then when he's like, break my arm, and
She's like, all right.
G.I.
Bam!
Jane was like, I don't know about that. And she's just like, fuck it. Boom. And we had the fear, so he shoves his little broken arm
Yeah.
through the gate to get to unhook the cage that they're in.
Yeah.
And I totally thought at first that he was gonna just grab it
it.
in his
Yeah.
hand, and I was like, no. But instead, he's just flopping his arm to
So ridiculous.
move the thing, and I was like, I mean, that's about what he could
It's
manage at that
realistic,
point.
yeah. It's the only
So-
realistic thing you can do.
But it was just like, that's look at that. Look at the 90-degree angle there at the broken bone.
If we're on the negative of the movie, I feel like the plot or the way that they came up with the sequel is kind of recycled of The Descendant. If you guys saw that,
I don't remember if I have.
well, the sequel to that is the girl who escaped in the first one goes to the hospital, and like 2 days later, a team of people are like,
Yeah.
we need to find my long lost nephew or whatever. And so they like make her go into this cave
Yeah.
to lead them through the way, which
Is
is
that
kind
the
of
descent?
Mhm.
The descent, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
all like girl power in that movie.
I
So
love the descent. That's like my favorite. Flop arm.
Yeah.
The other thing, which, and this is arguable, I will say, their rationale for not, or I don't know if they ever even explicitly gave a rationale for not just calling the cops as soon as they found a lair. Because the escape plan eventually was to get the cops to come there and, because
Macho BS.
yeah, there's 50 people missing. I think that you have a legal ground to say, hey guys, just put a SWAT team together and come here and storm the place. As opposed to, we have to sneak in there and try to extract her.
They said that the cops have had their chance. Remember?
Had their chance to know where everybody
yeah,
was,
exactly.
and then
Because reasons.
Yeah.
Duh.
so that is one of the weaknesses of the trap houses would be if you had enough brute force, people coming through there with the proper tools, then
Yeah, surround the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then at the end, in his, like, menagerie of human bugs that are in liquid.
Obviously water.
Apparently
Not
water.
inflammable.
Not, yeah.
Because nothing deteriorates in water.
Yeah.
It
No.
just turns gross in water.
Yeah.
But,
nice
yeah.
clear blue water.
When the fire's there and she's like, genius idea to get rid of the fire, I will just bust open these glass cases. I was like, that's fine. No, he taxidermies. He's not just going to use water.
Yeah.
What? But it worked.
It worked. We got Arkin out. That's the
I
important
mean,
thing.
I guess it wasn't like the weird greenish gray
Yeah.
color of formaldehyde.
Yeah.
But it could have been some other preservative.
Some
chemical.
other chemical, yeah.
I'm not going to lie. He probably would have sat there moping for like 30 seconds and then stood up and ran through it.
Yeah.
Because that just seems
I mean,
to be his personality.
Yeah.
It's just fire.
Yeah, like you can just roll.
You'll be fine.
Stop, drop, and roll.
She can take her thing off. She has a tank top on underneath and pat you.
Yeah.
Even if she didn't, she'd probably still take her shirt off and
Yeah.
pat you off to get the fire off.
Right. So, let's do our ratings. So, ratings. We have this was definitely horror. So, I would say there is definitely 2 ratings. Our entertainment value and our horror value. Squeamish. I think Keith was the most squeamish of this. So,
What do we even? Oh, jeez. Well,
collection.
it's hard for me to even think of numbers.
1, 2.
Again.
1 through 10.
8 or 9, as I was saying. I was able to rewatch it and still cringe.
Okay,
So-
so collection, entertainment value.
Ooh, probably close to a 7 for that.
Okay, so horror for collector. How many times were you squigged out?
That's going to be pretty high too, honestly. As I said before, certainly the torture-y things scare me more than most other types of horror.
Mm-hmm.
Other than slasher, just things like that seem like you can at least.
Yeah, slasher is nothing for me. Yeah. Meh.
This was. It was. I think the reason why this was scarier for me is because it was easier to put myself in the place of seeing how the traps work, and whether or not you feel it's realistic that you would end up there in the first place. It's still. It was easier to follow along with the idea of that.
Yeah.
So just on the scale of that, probably an 8.
Okay. And the collection? Same? Less? More?
A little less because again, it took me out of it more because of the scale of it. So 7.
Michelle?
For the collector, I would say entertainment and horror about equal, about a 7.
That's good.
And collection, I would say entertainment is about a 6. Horror aspect, about 7.
Okay. For collectors, I really like the collector. So entertainment, I put it at like a 9. Horror, like a 5. The collection, entertainment, 7, especially since at the end there's the promise of retribution.
Yeah.
I did forget about that. I really did like the endings.
I say the same out of 5.
Okay. So I'm different from everybody else. I like the collection more than I like the collector. So the collector is a 6 for me. Horror is a 6. I mean, maybe a 5. Collection, 7 or 8. And horror, 4 or 5 around that one. Because it's not nearly as graphic as the collector. That one had a lot more horrific things happening. Teeth getting knocked out. And this one was like things being seen from other people. Like, I'm cutting the guy's tongue out, but I'm not really showing it. And then I'm doing these other things, but you're not really seeing it. And then you see the aftermath of everything. You don't really see him actually doing any of the things or the things happening already.
So I'm trying to follow what you were saying. You were saying that you thought that was a positive? The suggestion and the collection made it better than...
No, I said I gave it a lower score.
Oh, lower horror
score. Because they didn't do it.
Gotcha.
So,
I wonder if there's pushback from the audience.
Yeah, I wonder.
The first one was too gory for the mainstream horror fan who saw it in October because it's Halloween.
Yeah, it's spooky.
Well, there has to be some other reason why that seemed to be the one that we saw more than the first one. Like it gained some sort of
I know the collection
exposure.
was on Netflix, so maybe the collector wasn't.
Yeah, I know. I saw it in the movie theater.
Okay.
When it came out.
Yeah, I know. I rented the collector. I didn't see it in the theater. I was just like, oh, what's this? This looks interesting. And I rented it.
It's the guy on the cover with the mask.
Yeah.
Gonna figure out what this is.
Yeah, 2012. So, and then the final thing is is there anything you guys want to promote? We have 2 Mad Lab people.
It seems pretty likely.
And a bunch of IABD people here and stuff. So Jessica, why don't you start?
Okay, so at Mad Lab, coming up is The Suite of Jake with Keith. In May, what are my months? In May is Theater Roulette. I'm in Theater Roulette. You're in Theater Roulette?
Yep.
Okay, that's 3 separate nights of short plays. You can find both of those at madlab.net.
For once, I don't have a single thing to promote.
Not even like a web series or something?
Or a book?
Or 2. No, I don't have any new novels out. A movie that I'm working on right now I cannot talk about.
Oh.
And
it doesn't have to be like brand new. It could be things that people could
okay,
catch right now, for example.
sure. If you go on YouTube and search for Red Rue, that's a supernatural web series with a bunch of other Mad Lab people. And we are working on the 2nd season now, kind of on writing it right now, and then we're filming in the summer. And that's it.
What about the book that was already out too? Didn't you say something about that?
Oh, Sightlines. Yeah. God, that came out so long ago. I completely forgot all about it. Except for once a month when I go and I check my sales, and I'm like, 30 people downloaded it. Awesome.
I have just finished it, and I can say I am really impressed. I really like it. A very detective-y novel. I love those type of books anyway, so that was right up my alley anyway. So
Didn't know you wrote books.
She's got a bunch.
Yeah.
Look at Michelle Siglio, and that's how you find her.
Yeah.
Now I know. Search Kindle.
And what about you, Keith?
I can't think of anything. Okay, well.
Do you want me to do it? Because
No,
I will
fine.
do it.
There's also, yes, as Jessica was mentioning, it's at the Suite of Jake, which opens next week. Mm-hmm. Next week being April.
This will not be out.
It probably won't be, will it?
Yeah.
It could be out by the 21st, who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
Come see it on closing night.
Yeah.
Well, how about some Audible books, Keith? Do you have one that's...
I've heard of a few of those.
Yeah. Well, catch Keith reading Weird Week by Suzanne Dome on Audible.
Yes. You can also find other things that I've done on Audible by searching J. Keith Jackson.
And I want to tell you about something really awesome. It's called Squatch Smashers. It is a new program that we have on It's All Been Done Presents. Let me read you a little snippet from it. Do you have a problem with rampant Sasquatches stealing your apples? Or maybe a ghost hanging around your breakfast nook saying mean and scary things to you about your hair? In either case, you need to get help from Squatch Smashers, a weekly comedy podcast. Follow the advice and adventures of Zeke Delafleur and his unwilling co-host Vlad as they explore the world of Bigfoot and the supernatural from a t-shirt kiosk in a failing mall. Listen to Squatch Smashers' weekly comedy podcast. It's all been done anyway, so check out IABDpresents.com and please support our programming at patreon.com/IABD.
Nice.
Well, that was our collection for the day.
Who's got the time?